Hello there, and welcome to another episode of, well, we have another terminal, right? Like we don't have enough on Linux, so I guess I'm gonna go and take a look at it, right? So let's go ahead and see what's up, right? So there is a new Telegram that is called Xterm. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually Ghosty. So here's Ghosty, right? This is their web page. Is kind of cool, the animation and all of that. So if you go to download, you can see that it exists for macOS and Linux. And if you go to package manager, you can see that you can get it on Arch, Gentoo, Nix, and some other operating systems. And I'm not going to actually go through the documentation right now because I have already gave it a little bit of a try, right? So what terminal emulator does? Well, you type commands into it and the commands give you some output, and you might as well use the Xterm, right? But this one is GPU accelerated. So okay, what does this mean, right? So what is it? Why would you want a GPU accelerated terminal emulator? Why not Xterm? Except it's white by default, right? Well, in some cases there may be a lot of scrollback going on in how do I put it? A lot of scrollback, right? So you might want to get that going a little bit faster. So GPU can help to handle these kinds of things. There are some other things that you might not be able to notice in terms of speed while actually working in a terminal software, right? Also, a little bit less of a CPU usage if that's your jam, but usually these days, if you have a GPU, then you probably have enough CPU juice as well to render letters on your screen, right? So all in all, GPU rendering, is that much of big of a deal? Well, I don't know. I usually use whatever terminal comes across my fingers, and the only reason why I actually started using Kitty because it came like a default option with the Hyperland, which is tiling window manager, which I actually wanted to try and use. And since it kind of, I wouldn't say bundled, but since it put Kitty into the default configuration, I just stuck with it and like, oh yeah, it's nice. I mean, I'm not that much of a programmer to be very to get the most use out of the all of the colorization and nerd fonts, and I'm not that much into this stuff. Like, oh, okay, racing is nice, it's all good and fun in games, right? But if you okay, let me stop talking. Let me stop talking. Let's get to some of the configuration. First of all, we are in the KDE right now, and you can immediately notice that this has GNOME like Advaita kind of theme to it, right? The website says that it has native GUI, but native, they mean native to the platform, not native to the desktop environment. So basically, what I mean is Advaita versus macOS theme, whatever it's called over there, right? So you can immediately notice some buttons like kind of zoom out if you have multiple of them open. Now I closed it. Apologies. You can go to make multiple tabs like every other terminal can do nowadays. So that's the plain view. You have some of the options here to split it. Actually, I'm going to show you splitting a little bit later, but let me make it look a bit nicer. First of all, right? I don't like this color. So first of all, you will want to open the configuration file. So for that, you just type Control and comma, and it will open a music player for some reason. It says that open configuration is Control comma, right? So let's try that again. Control comma, and once again it's opening the music player. Well, I guess this is a bug. Let's close it. Let's open it again. Control, comma, and once again we got a music player. What happens if we go to the open configuration? Once again we get the music player. Okay, so this is getting a little bit annoying. Okay, let's do the let's do it the old-fashioned way, right? So it's obviously not opening the configuration for some reason. Actually, this used to work before I started recording this video. So I'm kind of in a how do you say neobrano grožđe in English? I don't know. Anyways, this is not what I was planned to record, but here we are. So first of all, I want the background black. So let's go. Let's ask the client how to give us some theming, right? So in order to get the list of themes, you can just type the Ghostty and you type plus list and tab it out, colors, themes. Okay, let's list themes. So in this moment, you can just list through all of the themes that you would maybe prefer to use. So I don't know, this one is not that good. This one is black. Okay, this may be nice. Let's go ahead and see some more. Monakai. Was it Vim and Vim dark? Not dark enough. Purple. Oh, okay, purple is nice for purple fans, right? Rapture, Scarlet, maybe. We have soft server, Space Dust, Space Gray, Spider-Man, like synthwave, everything. Oh, okay, this one is kind of nice, like a little bit of orange, full black. Okay, let's go with synthwave. So, okay, now just Control C out of the theming, right? And let's go to the let's go to our config folder and to the Ghostty, and what we have here is our config file. Let's just use the plain old nano for the config file, and there's nothing in here. So type just theme equals synthwave. Was it synth wave with the W wave? Okay, and now press F3 to save this and exit, and now press Ctrl Shift and comma to apply the new theme, right? So at least the shortcut works properly, right? Another thing that you could do is the background actually black? Let's make sure that the background is fully black. So it is kind of black, isn't it? Anyways, what's next that bothers me is all this Advaita kind of looks. So GTK, I have already looked it up in the documentation. GTK title bar equals false. Okay, so let's save this and exit out of here and Control Shift comma reloaded the configuration and nothing happened. Okay, let's turn it off and turn it on again, and now we have literally nothing. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's go with the .config ghosty config. Actually, we want to edit this one. So the next thing I have seen in the documentation is gt okay add weight equals false. Okay, let's save this as well and exit the terminal and start it once again. And now we have configuration errors. Okay, let's ignore this one and see what we have done wrong. Ghosty config gtk addweight t addweight a. Okay, let's save this one. Great, exit, start it up again, and voila. Now it kind of looks like it's going to fit into the KDE profile, right? None of the GTK or should I say Advaita GNOME tree whatever stuff theming. I don't like that. So now that we are here, I can show you how to get more out of the configuration without digging too much into the online documentation, right? So just do the Ghostty and go with plus sign and then just click tab and it will give you some options already. So you can already see that you have some options. You don't have to really remember anything. Just remember that you start with plus and then finish it with some of the commands. So you can type show and then what we have like config, show config. So this is our configuration here. This is the theme that we have already applied, and I'm just scrolling up very fast as much as I can, and we are at the beginning of our configurations. So indeed, we do have pitch black background. So another thing that we could do is show default configurations. So we just add, actually you can just type tab and see what the options are. So if you type default, you will get the full default configuration like key bindings, background, Windows vertical sync, decorations, and all of these kinds of things, right? So what you can do with this, you can output this and simply send it into the config file. So there you can edit all of the default options like a human, right? You don't have to dig too much through the documentation and see what's going on. And one of other options that you can do before you send this to the configuration file, you can actually press tab once again and you can see that it gives you the docs. So what the docs is basically it adds more context to the default config, right? So when you press enter, you will get the exact same thing, but with the full manual on top of every single one of these commands. So in this particular case, I could see the appeal of this terminal actually. So it's kind of easier to get configured, right? So from this perspective, even as a person who doesn't really care too much about terminals, once in a while I will want to modify some things to be more to my likings and not really uh, being kind of forced, right? No, not the forced is the wrong word, but having the access to the manual or defaults in this kind of easy way is this is nice, right? I think more of the CLI applications should be able to output the default configuration in this way and add the docs, right? So another thing that I wanted to show you before basically we end this video is if you don't use tmux or another terminal multiplexer, you can basically control shift and O, so it will simply open up like you know a new what's the button to increase the font size. Let's zoom it in all of this a little bit just so you can see a little better. Apologies for doing this at the end of the video, but you know, things are like that. So you know, if you need another one below here, just type Control Shift and D, and of course you can change the default key bindings. But basically, this is the emulation of what you would usually call a terminal multiplexer, but you cannot really attach yourself to the remote session on the server if you're programming remotely, right? So what I could in theory see myself doing is basically maybe getting into a remote server such as like this SSH and into 168.99.11 and now type my password, and now we are at my PeerTube server, right? And I might be doing something remotely on this server, and I will just attach my okay, now we don't have the term info available. Well, you know, no matter, like for now we can just do the export term equals xterm. This will be enough until we get the required files on the remote server, and just do the tmux again And let's say that we are in some kind of a remote Vim session and doing something remotely on the server. Usually I will be using something like terminal multiplexer, be it tmux or screen. I like both of them, and I might be able to see a reasoning for this screen splitting, so I can at the same time run some local commands. But honestly, I would usually do this via two completely separate terminal emulators, right? So I wouldn't really use the split screen functionality, but you do you, of course. All power to you. If you want to use the features that are at your disposal, this is a good thing, never a bad one. So one of the things that I may be wishing for in the future, and this is not really related to Ghostty, but all around, right? The terminal multiplexers like tmux have been fairly irreplaceable to many people, be it like local workers only who simply don't want their work to be accidentally closed, be it locally first users who sometimes attach to their session by going away from their primary computer and simply doing the remote SSH session into their main machine and simply continuing the session that they tmax attach to their remote whatever machine and laptop. And the third category, of course, those people who usually work primarily on the remote server. So now you're in the office and you're remoting into the server and you're doing your work there, and then you go home and you simply attach that tmux to your new machine, whichever one you're connecting to it. And one of the most common thing that I do with my tmux is I just leave it running on my Raspberry Pi, where I use vchat for IRTs, internet relay chat, right? So it just hangs there forever, and when I go back to my session, I can see some of the past messages that I may have missed. There are, of course, different ways to do about the internet relay chat, but this is not the topic of this video. Just the Ghostty terminal, right? So if you think this is like a cool project, you might go ahead and give it a try. Maybe you're a Kitty user and you want to try something new for a change. It is a fairly good one. You have really good documentation here if you don't like the way that I have presented it to you. So you can go ahead and click with your mouse, right? And I guess I'm just gonna say thanks to all of my supporters at this point who are supporting me both on Coffee and on YouTube membership. And I will thank all of the like students of mine who are basically learning Linux with me together on every Sunday, where there are some like 15 of us who are doing all of these sessions, right? And it's been a lot of fun learning Linux, learning commands, learning the basics. And I apologize for the shameless plug that I'm doing again, but I have to promote my stuff, right? So thanks all of you, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.